I really wanted you to share with folks, like your healing journey. One, when you found out that you were having a baby, you can even talk about, just how old you were when you had the baby, and just some of the things that you now know because of the work that you do as a dietitian in regards to supporting yourself on that journey to a healthy pregnancy. So share with them a little bit about, what it took for you and what came up for you.
In 2019, and it wasn't until 2020 we found out, hey, we're expecting, and this is great. So after 10 years of marriage, of course, we're like, everybody was kind of waiting, like, when is going to happen? And then my husband, he turned 40, and then I turned 40. And it was like, all right, well, we'll have a kid. So we were, of course, super excited. But with that also came, regular visits to the doctor. And, they really stressed, the OB really stressed the fact that they considered me advanced maternal age. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess geriatric, the term that they use nowadays, because I was 40,
Yeah.
having my first baby. Of course, they told you all the horror stories and what to expect, and, oh, this could. But then I really just called up on my support community, my midwife, who's practiced for 40 years, and my doula, and, really looking at what to expect as a woman of color, right?
Mm.
On that perspective. And of course, they reassured me, you're good for the most part. You're healthy, you eat well, you don't use drugs, you've never smoked. So I really didn't have any of the, I guess, risk factors that they kind of look at if you're having a baby later in life.
Yeah.
So some of it was like, I'm not even worried about this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And my midwife was like, girl, when it's time for you to have a baby, it's time for you to have a baby. What's written is written. It's not like, oh, I'm scared this could go wrong. And it was funny because my initial doctor was Dr. Boots Taylor. Some people know Dr. Boots Taylor in Atlanta. And he was like, dude, protect your mind. That was my first consultation and my
Yes.
first visit. And he just stressed the importance of protecting your mind and really surrounding your people or surrounding yourself with a village and a group of people who are willing to really wholeheartedly support your journey. A lot of times, we prepare for the birth itself, but then we're not really thinking about the postpartum. And I guess, I read all of Ina May Gaskin. I read all the books, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hypnobirth, did a lot of that. And it was like, okay, this is great. But then the postpartum was like, how do I do that? And then, of course, my
Yeah.
midwife and my doula helped me with that. So bringing by the teas and making sure I had what I needed and setting up my meal train. So I just think that's really, really important. As a dietitian, I kind of knew, okay, I know what to eat, for prenatal, besides the vitamins, and how to really, make sure that my body is strong enough, make sure I'm getting in the nutrients and things that I needed. But there was also that, mental component, that mental support that I needed. So.
Yeah. So actually, I wanted to share because I actually had Dr. Boots Taylor. For
You
those of
did?
you who are listening, he was my doctor, my geriatric doctor. I actually
Right.
had my second child at 42. So yes, all the things, all the risks, all the things that they say that you need to watch out for. I was told the same thing. And so I'm just curious to hear from you because I have my own healing journey around that. What were some of the things that you decided to nourish your body with during your pregnancy to ensure in your mind, based on your background, to ensure that you would be ready when, the baby was ready to come out?
I had some of everything. And it's interesting because I was talking to a friend and they were like, hey, if you eat that during your pregnancy, it could be anecdotal or not. It's funny. If you eat that during your pregnancy, then your baby won't be allergic to it. And we
Ooh.
just laugh, whatever. But for the most part, being pescatarian, really looking at, plant-based options, are very heavily plant-based. I kind of, for the most part, just a lot of fruits and vegetables. I did things like Greek yogurt.
Mm-hmm.
I did a lot of bean soups, really just, falafel I love, and just making sure, I got my spinach and my greens in. For the most part, almond butter, peanut butter, like that kind of stuff is just, and snacking because I had quite the appetite.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because I actually, I ate and it was good because you actually require a few more calories when you're pregnant and lactating. So I found myself where I would be eating my meals and then I would actually have snacks as well. So really just making sure that, my diet was balanced, making sure, that I was eating, making sure that I was hydrating. That was a huge piece of it. Making sure that I was really nourishing my body, and not just, forgetting or sleeping through it.
Yeah.
Even if I had to like really set alarm, on my phone, and kind of remind myself, what do you like to eat? What do you enjoy eating? Right. And make sure that you include those things. Of course, it was a blessing. I didn't have any gestational diabetes or anything like that I had to worry about, for the most part. But my diet was pretty varied, pretty diverse.
I think it's really a blessing to have the experience of a water birth. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that, but to, like literally to defy the odds, right? So here you are, you're living the lifestyle, you're taking care of yourself, you're eating well, you're moving, and you're older, right? You're 40, and to be able to really kind of just create the outcome the way you want it to, the way you've envisioned, is such a blessing, and to really put the steps in place to make it happen, the people, the support, the community, I think that's so powerful. And unfortunately, many of us don't have that opportunity, but I'm so grateful that you were able to have that opportunity.
Knowledge is power, and looking at what is offered, and it's so many in this day and age with technology. Information's at your fingertip. And
Yeah.
a lot of it is just looking at, hey, what are the options? How can I explore those options? How can I employ those options to work for me? Right. So, especially as a woman of color, I wanted people on my team, that was going to support me and had the knowledge and expertise and know-how. Right.
Yeah.
So that was just really important to me.
Well, it's so interesting that you talk about just being a woman of color. I think about when I first found out that I was pregnant, and I went to the doctor, the different physicians that I went to visit, they were like, your first pregnancy was a cesarean. You need to have a cesarean for the second one, or we're not going to see you. And
Exactly.
I'm so grateful that I spoke to, a good friend of mine who's a physician. She was just like, look, you're going to get cut regardless. If they want to cut you, they're going to cut you. Do not let that be your only option.
Hmm.
There's someone in the state of Georgia that will see you, that will work with you. And so really helping me to take my power back
Hmm.
as a pregnant woman, and let me know that, things are going to happen, but you absolutely can control the outcome by the things that you do leading up to this birth,
Absolutely.
i.e., the things you're eating, the things you're thinking about, the people that's around you, the support system that you're developing, the support
Absolutely.
system that you have afterwards, right?